Good morning, everyone. We are very, very happy to be here. We're excited and well, let us start because we have many questions to answer. I'm going to start by presenting the wonderful panelists, my friends from the Latin American Committee. First, I would like to introduce you to Jessica Bowen, and she's the college counselor at Escuela Internacional. Hold on, Sampedrana. Hi, Jessica, welcome. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. I would also like to introduce you to Mr. Henrik Oprea, who's the high school interim principal, a School of the Nations in Brazil.
Hi, everyone. It's really good to be here.
And I also would like to introduce you to Alex Del Valle, who's a career and college counselor overseas from La Escuela de Lancaster here in Mexico City, where we both live. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Henrik, Jessica. It's
So
great to be here.
So we're very, very happy to have all of you here. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Welcome, welcome. And okay. And here we go. Let us start. Okay, could you please let me know if you can all see my screen?
Yes, we're good.
Excellent. Okay, so let's start. I have to mention that Jessica is from Honduras, and that's something I forgot from when I introduced her. Okay, so let's start. Hold on. Okay. So welcome, everyone. Hold on, I'm having a little bit of problems in presenting. Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah, so you have no idea how happy we are to be here. Our newly founded Latin America Committee, led by Gerardo de Vega, is very excited about the endless opportunities that can arise from this conversation. The countries represented on the committee currently are Brazil, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Honduras, Mexico, and Canada. So bienvenidos, amigos, and bienvenidos, amigos in Portuguese. So our first question for our amazing panelists is, what are the three main challenges that you have encountered as a counselor in Latin America? Jessica, over to you.
Great, thank you, Lorraine. Well, I think there's a lot of challenges, but I would say maybe the top three, I would say the first one is changing the mindset about the opportunities that are available to students. So instead of just counting on the traditional opportunities, the study opportunities, helping students and families know that there's a lot of amazing programs out there. There's a lot of different paths to meeting their career goals, that it's not just a traditional 4-year bachelor's degree, that there's a lot of options available to them. That's the first thing that I would say. The second, I think everybody can relate, obtaining good scholarships and finding reasonable cost opportunities. And then the third that I found is ensuring that students are well prepared to handle academic and also social challenges at a rigorous, competitive campus environment. So those are the three things that I would say are my biggest challenges.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Over to you, Henrik. What are the three main challenges that you have encountered as a counselor and principal in Latin America?
So maybe I'm going to be adding to what Jessica has just said. And I think that two of my main challenges are related, and they're about information. I would say the first challenge is lack of information for students. And I think that when we're talking about a country as big as Brazil, most schools do not even have the figure of a college counselor. So people tend to rely on the information they find online, but they don't really know exactly where to look for the right pieces of information. So I think that creates the second main challenge, which is misinformation, which is when people start believing in certain myths and reproducing that, and even in school settings sometimes, because that's the information they found available and because the information is so widespread. So for us who are in this medium, for us who are working with students already, it's even difficult for us to understand why they had that kind of information in the first place. So here, what I usually tell my students are like, look, just because your friend's uncle has a cousin who knows someone who actually went to school with someone who applied to go abroad, it doesn't really mean you know the right pieces of information. You need to actually consult with a college counselor. So that's the kind of misinformation that we have right now. And also, so I guess lack of information, misinformation. There are two other challenges that I think they go hand in hand, which is the curriculum bit. And because of the misinformation, there is a problem right now in Brazil, and I'm not sure if this is true for all countries in Latin America, with the boom of bilingual schools that say that we offer an American curriculum, we offer the American diploma, and you're like, when you check what they're offering, it's really not. But from a market perspective, it becomes that. So it actually piles up on the problem of the information. So it is, I think, the challenge of properly informing people and educating people. It's probably the main challenge. I can break it down into so many different parts.
Thank you so very much, Henrik. And now over to you, Alex.
Well, now it's a difficult position because I think that they've really, Jessica, Henrik, just sum up most of the issues we all handled. I would really add up one thing, which would be the way in which, having what you all said and trying to apply in a standardized system. We're not, I think South America overall, I was just checking, Chile, Peru, Brazil, all the systems that we have in place, the national curriculums, the middle school curriculums, etc., are so different that it's really complicated to find common ground when you find certain platforms and a lot of documents that wouldn't be the same. That's really difficult to face. Even if you have what Henrik was saying, I think so spot on. We do not have the amount of counselors needed. We're far from having counselors. And I think that also has to do with the way education is presented, which would be public system and private system. We do have a lot of privilege in a way when you're in a private system, but if you're in the public system, you're not only not going to find a counselor, it's really difficult to find the proper conditions to actually learn. So there's a strong disadvantage there, which it's really difficult to. I mean, this is not the space to address that one, but overall, I think those challenges need to be put on the table and discussed and try to find all of this common ground between us and universities.
Thank you so very much. So I think that there's a lot of food for thought regarding these challenges. But now I want to trick you three, into imagining that you had a magic wand, okay, and that you're all powerful, and resources are not a problem. So how would you solve these challenges? How would you overcome these challenges? Try to be as creative and free in your answers. What would you do if you had all these magical powers to change, right? Hold on, let me just change my slide. And here we go. Okay, yeah, how do you think these challenges could be overcome? What would you do if you had a magic wand? Okay, so I'm going to start with Henrik this time. I'm going to kind of give it a little variation in order. Henrik.
That's really the million-dollar question, right? I wish I had the answer to that. And I think that there are a couple of things that we can do. And there's some other challenges as well that I can see coming from what we expect and what we get in reality based on the fact that I think the counselors, as a counselor myself, it's very difficult for me to support and help all my students when we think about the sheer amount of universities they can choose from when they want to go abroad, and all of the requirements, the individualities, and so different countries, different places they want to go. If they want to stay in their home country, if they want to go to the US, they want to go to the UK, they want to go to the Netherlands, so it's already huge amount of work that we need to do. And it's also very hard for universities themselves as well when they consider the amount of national curricula, when they consider the amount of different school systems that we have in the world. And then we end up finding the most practical solution. I think that if I look at it from the perspective, like just to draw an analogy, if I look at it from the perspective of assessment, why do we have standardized assessment? Because it's more practical for me to correct it when I have a large number of students taking that. It's not as authentic or realistic, or does not really gauge what students truly know, as if I were trying to use something more authentic, like a portfolio, like essays, but that takes a lot of time. And the thing is that if we expect students to be college ready by preparing them to take a standardized exam, right? And saying sometimes this is still the truth. I know this is changing. The pandemic has hopefully accelerated the process. There's been a huge catalyst for change. But how do you do that when you have so many differences and so many different potentials in each individual school and each individual setting? So I guess if I had a magic wand, I would say give people time so that both counselors can directly tell the universities what their students are truly capable of doing, and give people time on the other end as well, so they can actually talk to people who are sending students and understand what those students can offer. So since it's a magic wand, I'll probably give the gift of time so that we can truly understand better the context where people are coming from and what they can truly offer, because we cannot do that when you have 2-3 minutes to read an application, or 4 minutes to read an application, or if you just need to say, okay, this is what you have to send, let's hope for the best. So I think that with a magic wand, I would give them the gift of time.
Well, Henrik, I appreciate this gift. I need it right now. I think we all need it right now. The gift of time is like wise words, my friend. Okay, so go ahead, Alex, tell us, what would you do with this magic wand? How would you overcome these challenges?
Well, I was actually thinking time, so let's elaborate on something a bit different, because
thank you for letting me go first, Lorraine.
Yeah. I think that one of the basic things, you just gave me a magic wand, so I would dream for the manpower and the number of people to really get to know every individual. I know I'm speaking about 38 million students, no, but if you have the opportunity to get to know them, as we have the opportunity to get to know maybe 60, but if you get to know everyone, I'm sure we would be having and finding a lot of talent where we're currently just letting it go or just missing, and that's because of other factors. But since I have that magic wand, I would, like a lot of counselors talking to a lot of kids, universities having also that approach and letting them know, there's this person with this particular area of opportunity, with this particular challenge, abilities, whatever, no? And then I think we would really have a very good system in place where, if money is not a factor, since you gave me the wand, I took that one immediately, then we can have a very proper pathway to the right fit for you, because that's very different. Once we take out, I think, I would take out standardized testing, just as Henrik said. I think, it gets in the way of the individual.
Thank you so much, Alex. I know the magic wand gives us, like a world.
I felt powerful, so yeah.
There you go. So
I gave you the gift of time.
Yes, and I'm taking it away. Just a tip for you participants to know. As I said, thank you for being here. If you want to feel the power of the magic wand and answer things on the chat, you're very welcome to. Since it's a short session, we're going to participate through the chat. I forgot to say that at the beginning. Jessica, hi, it's your turn. What would you do to overcome these challenges?
Well, as I had mentioned, one of my challenges is, educating students and parents, our families here about the opportunities, right? I don't know if this is a situation in a lot of your schools. I imagine it is, but you probably have students applying to pretty much the same schools, right? Maybe the same top 20-ish schools, the ones that they've heard of, and following sort of like the same traditional path that everybody else has followed. So I would love to see more input from our alumni. So for example, for some of the universities that are giving, really great scholarships to our students, I would love to see something attached to that where there's an expectation for some of the students who receive, a good scholarship at whichever university to pay it forward and do something in their home country. So, whether that's mentoring, whether that's coming back to do presentations, whatever, but I would like to see more participation from the alumni. And I don't think we necessarily have to have a really strong alumni connection or network from our school. We're working on that, but more input from the students that leave our school and leave our country. So.
Excellent, Jessica. Yeah, what happened next, right? It's not, happily ever after, there's something else happened. Yes. Thank you so very much. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Just a second. Okay. Would you like to know up front what it is that a university is looking for? And, is there a way for counselors to know if our students' admittance is not only highly improbable, but just impossible? Would you like some earnest conversations with universities? What are you looking for? Are you really looking for this talent from Latin America that has this and this and these characteristics? So now I'm going to start. Jessica, it's your turn again. Wow.
Thanks, Lorraine. Yeah, I think what I would like to know up front, and I think it would be helpful for everybody, for our students and our families, is, what are the skills that are needed to succeed in some of the career choices or some of the majors that our students are pursuing? Are they really going to succeed? Do we need to do something else on our part? What are the skills that they're going to need to succeed in mechanical engineering or, data analytics major or whatever it might be? So more information about that.
Excellent. Over to you, Alex.
Yeah, I agree with that one, really specific requirements, because sometimes you do a lot of the process and at the end you find out, oh, but this test was also needed. And for example, a lot of clarity, especially in health sciences, where the opportunity to practice, because at the end of the program, because of your legal status, when it goes back to, you're not a student anymore, you cannot practice. So those key things, that what happens before to get in, and also what happens after, what would be opportunities. I think that would be really great.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Henrik, it's your turn now.
I think I can only echo what they say. I think the clarity, of course, would like to know upfront what it's that the university is looking for. I guess I still remember very clearly hearing, and it was something that just stuck to mind when I heard an admissions officer talking to a group of counselors, and she just mentioned that, look, if your kids want engineering here, and you tell me that he's taking AP physics, that doesn't really matter to us. We want math. And it's like, okay, that's very useful information because I can guide my students. So I think this kind of clarity is also very important. But I guess it's also about what else are they looking for? It's not just a test score, it's not just an exam, but what else are they looking for that's going to make our students as like this student won't be really accepted here no matter what he does. So I think that that would help us and save us a lot of frustration as well. So clarity, transparency, I think that would be essential.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Hold on. Do you think that opportunities are being missed on both sides? Like, I just want to talk, a shout out to all our amazing students, our talented students who stay home, that students who really want to go abroad, but they, you know, they can't complete the process for whatever reason, right? All the variables that we all know are involved. So do you think that opportunities are missed on both sides? I mean, universities are also missing out on our wonderful students. So we have extraordinary students that would thrive in extraordinary, perhaps yet not so known programs. Henrik, tell us, what do you think about this?
I think that's the absolute truth. I think it's, yeah, for sure. And I think we all have in our students those kids that we know, like, this kid would be so perfect for this or that. And how do we show that? How do we get them to really show what they can do and show their potential? Because they're especially when you're talking about not so known programs, and I guess that's the part of the sentence that is interesting, because on the one end, and I'll go back to the idea of standardized testing and how we assess students' chances to get into a university, how that's limiting, especially to kids who come from a different kind of background. And they feel, no matter what you tell them, they feel they're not worth it, right? They feel like, oh, I cannot really do that. This is just something I do as a hobby that will never be something, especially in Brazil, and I guess in Latin America, it's the same. Kids only get to know the courses that they can pursue based on what they're exposed to in school. So for them, it's very limiting as well. They don't really understand what the world offers. And this is becoming more and more dangerous, because in the world we live in right now, professions are changing. A lot of things I need to do are changing. And we're still, I guess if you put that on a graph, we're preparing students for 10 years ago by saying, like, you do this, you're going to be successful, but we're preparing them to become irrelevant very, very soon. And just hoping that, you know what, when you get to university, you're going to learn this, because right now this is what you need to do. And when they get to university, it's like, well, you know what, you should have learned that before. So I don't know, I know I'm diverging a little bit, but I think that's related somehow in my mind, because it's just that we're missing so many opportunities by not giving the chance for everyone to show their true talents. Because going back to the practicality thing, unfortunately, that's the $1 million question. How do we break away from that, right? So it is a box. It's still a box, no matter how it's a box. So
yeah, how can we kind of, you know, show these students to universities? No, you know, we need all this. Yes, please, Jessica.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's a lot of missed opportunities. I would definitely tag on to what you've said, Henrik, but I think it would be great. I think it would be worth it for some of these schools that are in maybe lesser known regions, or, you know, less popular regions to try to study in. To maybe offer some unique programs, right, to attract some of our students. You know, we have students at my school that are afraid, you know, they're sort of intimidated, you know, if they have to take a 3-flight trip to a really, really remote area. But, you know, there are other things that could be offered. So I know some schools, I think in like Wisconsin or Minnesota, I think they offer, you know, like host programs with local families. You know, there's all kinds of activities like that. So, you know, just even something like that, or, you know, offering a really great scholarship to a couple of our students, and then that kind of opens a door for other Honduran students to maybe apply. So just little things like that, you know, can kind of open the door for the universities and then also for our students. So
Thank you. Sorry, thank you so very much, Jessica. Alex, what are your insights on this question?
Well, for me, you know, missing out opportunity, absolutely, absolutely, because of just basic statistics and the number of students that graduate each year, and the number of kids admitted into universities, the process and the moment when they have to choose. For example, students have to choose subjects when they're 15, you know? And then when they're 18, they have to apply to, if they decide to apply to whatever university. How can you know when you're 15 that when you're 18 you would have needed such and such test? It's just really difficult. So because of the standardized way, as Henrik was saying, that we're working on, and we all understand why it's in place, but of course we're wasting and we're losing talent in both ways. And just a thought that I usually have, Lorraine, which is, you know, people like Einstein, Hawking, Picasso, because of the standardized tests, because of the standardized system that we have, wouldn't have been accepted to many universities. How can that be? You know, so I think yes, we're missing something, and again, we really need to find this common ground between us as counselors, universities, so we don't miss. I mean, I think it will still happen, but we need to get closer in what you're looking for. This is what I have, and you know, the needs of both parts.
Thank you very, very much to the three of you. Excellent answers. You're doing great. Let's go on for the next question. Hold on. This one. If you were a high school student right now, you know, planning to study abroad, what would discourage you to do so? You know, what would discourage you to do so? Jessica, if you were a high school student, what would discourage you?
Well, speaking from students from our school, I think number one, cost, right? So when you look at cost of attendance of 65, 66, 72,000, that's a huge that's a huge obstacle. And then distance, sometimes that's a discouraging factor. And then sometimes, you know, if they're looking at certain schools, again, being the only one from their country to attend, that can be kind of a discouragement. And then for some students, you know, not being equipped to handle their independence yet.
Thank you very much, Jessica. I totally agree with what you said. Henrik, over to you.
Yeah, I think especially nowadays, but it's always been true. I think it's finances. I think the financial hurdle, especially when you come from a country in which the stability, the currency is not really very stable and things might change overnight. This is a serious concern, not only for the student, but for the family. Will I be able to afford that? Number two, I guess right now it'd be like, it's the same thing, not only about studying abroad, but studying here, choosing my major, fear of making the right choice. Like, will that really impact my life? So I guess that's something that's true for all high school students. Sometimes they choose a course to take based on fear. So like, I'm going to go for this course because it's more prestigious instead of trying to really pursue a passion, right? So I guess those are the two factors, I'd say.
Thank you very much, Henrik. Alex.
Well, this is a good question. I think, yeah, I would have to start with cost. That would be the first one. Like, why go into something that it's highly likely that I won't be able to afford, you know? And, you know, if we see the prices and how much people earn, the lower class, middle class, upper class, etc., there's a great disadvantage for it. But the other one that I would think about would be success, because and the idea of what does it mean to be successful? If I go to study elsewhere into another country, would that what does that guarantee? Because it would be a great experience, but what I'm actually aiming for, that's where I think the counselor is needed, of course, But that, I think, also puts, at least in my experience, some of my students are sometimes more afraid of getting in than not being accepted. They say, oh, I just didn't get accepted, so I'm not going, you know. But if they do, it's difficult then to say, whoops, now I have to go, no? So I think, you know, well, Hendrik, you have but I think, yes, yeah, those would be difficult issues that also we need to deal with.
Thank you so much, Alex. Back to you, Henrik.
No, it's just to come. I think that what Alex said is really, really spot on. I think that when we're talking about the role of a career and college counselor, it's about helping students think about their career and why they want to do certain things and finding what they want to do. So I usually refer to the 3 Ps that Tony Wagner talks about: play, passion, and purpose, right? So if we can help students identify that in their high school years, for example, I think that's the chances to succeed are much higher. And convincing our school administration as well that our role is not simply to get students to go to university, but also help them to find the right fit and understand why they're doing that. So I think the Alex answer was spot on. So I think when we talk about college guidance only in terms of like, this is what you need to do to get there, it's like, hold on, why do you want to do that? So career planning is something that we don't really have the, at least not in my setting. People tend to just let things go by. So like, yeah, I'm going to go from here to there, and eventually I'll get somewhere, right? So I think what Alex said, I really just wanted to say that because it just came to mind.
Excellent. I just want to add from my perspective, I always tell my students, el proceso es el filtro. You know, the process of applying is actually kind of a filter. If you can't deal with the stress of, you know, like deadlines or filling in the common app, I tell them, you are not ready, my friend. But this is not necessarily the student's fault, right? This has to be like a cultural clash between, like there are very clear differences between how to apply in a university in Latin America, at least in Mexico, and how you apply to university elsewhere. So you have to start educating students, parents, everyone in the community. And sometimes I would say one thing that could discourage some of my students is saying, no, that's, you know, too complicated. They're scared of the work that is implied in applying, right? And, you know, I think that we can work on that. So, okay, just a second. So what are the takeaways? If you could sum them up. I wrote down, we need to start communicating our needs clearly, both on our side and on the college's side. We have to redefine what academic excellence means in terms of standardized testing, perhaps, and bilingualism. We should consider ways of adapting the admissions process to other cultures because of what I've just said, or learning perhaps about how the admission process is in Mexico or in Latin America, opening doors to different programs when we said that we were missing out on talent, and perhaps summer programs are the solution. So these are the takeaways I have, but please, Henrik, tell me something else that you think could be added to this list.
Your list is very thorough. I guess one thing I can tell when you're talking about opening doors to different programs, and I know for a fact, for example, Brazil also has a national exam that all students who are in high school need to take for all over the country. It's the same exam for everyone. So maybe you would lower the stress of kids if you started admitting and accepting that exam as well in the admission process, instead of just forcing students to go through a different system as well, as that is something that will, even if you want to understand how much students know, it's the same exam for all kids in the whole country. So when you're talking about opening doors to different programs and adapting the admission process to other cultures, about once you get to know about what each country has to offer, if they already offer something like that, why not make use of that? And that would lower the stress and get to know these exams, these national exams, and trying to actually help students in the process, because our students would be already, all of them, preparing for that. So once that's open, and I know some countries already do that. I know that, for example, for the Brazilian ENEM, more than 50 institutions in Portugal, except that universities in Canada as well. Even in the UK, some of them use that, but when it comes to the US, very, very few people actually even know about it or use it, right? So getting to know that would be more helpful, I guess.
Thank you very much, Henrik. So I'm checking the chat, and we have some participations that I'm going to mix in with the takeaways and the participations from the chat. I like to kind of mix things up. So we have, it says from Leah, it says, hi, great panel. To what extent are students from Latin America considering Asia? Any of the panelists who might be interested in answering this? Alex?
Yeah, that was very interesting. Hi, Leah. One of the things, you know, my students are starting to consider Asia much more. We're starting to learn, you know, of the process of how to apply, etc. However, one of the things that I found, but this is just with one country and the system of one country, which was it's all grade, you're in or you're not. You know, you need a 40 on IB grades. If not, there's not even ground for a discussion. No, so that was it. But that was just with one place. But what I can see that Jessica just answered, I think it would be brilliant if we could have more information of what's happening today. No, today with those admission processes, because you know you're talking about a continent. So I think it would be fantastic to have more information about, you know, different countries, different continents, of course, and so on. I would love to hear more about that.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Alex. Jessica, do you have any other takeaway that you would like to add to our list?
Sorry. No, I think, you know, again, just stressing the communication part, you know, being in touch. I think, you know, a conference like this is so important. So, you know, I think just having that network system and communicating with universities and other counselors and just sharing information, I think that is so important. I think we have to continue doing things like IC3 festivals and other similar activities, right? Super important.
Absolutely. And I have more comments on the chat. Please feel free to express what you're thinking. So we have Divya is saying we can offer some amazing programs also in India. So raise your hand, Latin American counselors, if you're interested in learning about Asia, India, anywhere else in the world. Yes. Raise your hand.
I guess
if you
that's
are.
important, so we can offer more options and go from, someone said that usually, I think Jessica said that usually students apply to the same 20 different names, right? Because they see their friends going there, they go like, okay, so I need to go here, I need to go there. So once they start learning more about different programs and they see their friends applying and going to these places, they might feel more interested in exploring those options as well. So it'll be important.
Absolutely. And thank you, Andrea Maldonado, for letting us know about these virtual info sessions so that families know who you are. Thank you very much. Hold on. Few students are, okay, hold on. Students are interested in Asia. Those who are interested really wanted. Okay. Learning more about it would be extremely helpful. Yes, we have, I would say we have no information about, you know, these admissions processes as counselors in Mexico, at least, right? Okay, so please let us know if you have any other interesting comments. It was a pleasure. Henrik, thank you so much for being here. I think that we did a great job. Alex also, hold on. We can sum everything up and let's get to know each other. You know, Latin American students, Latin American counselors, colleges from all over the world, you know, and so hold on. Oh, this was the Q&A, and thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.